edition of Odin Writes Shit. Today I have 4 samples from Organics Studio. These are going to be discontinued. Well, these are discontinued, and there is very limited selection left. The Darwin series, featuring the HMS Beagle, Santiago Bay Blue, and Darwin, as well as Isaac Newton. There's also one more that I have actually already received or ordered a full bottle of, and that is the Gregor Mendel. These are more of the more expensive line in Organic Studio, and they're no longer going to be producing them because of the materials required to make them. So yeah, the first one we're going to try is Isaac Newton. These are kind of cool. I mean, I'm really fascinated with Organic Studio and what they do, because they have a series that are basically master writers, master scientists, and ones that are based off of elements. When I first got these, I was really freaking fascinated because this stuff is very thick, very dark, and you just can't even... wow. Isaac Newton is supposed to rival with Heart of Darkness, which I have yet to obtain. I would like to, eventually. Let me wash off the brush and we'll give that one a little test. Let's see. It's very thick, and it really wants to coat my dip pen. When I was swatching these, I had a hell of a time putting them on paper with a dip pen. They're definitely meant to be put in fountain pens. Very wet ink. Whoop. And very, used very quickly, actually. A dip pen is probably not what it was intended for. This one is a black with gray undertones. Anyway, this is probably not something that you would want to paint with. Definitely used for writing. But let's see what it does on a piece of notebook paper. See, this freaking coats my nib entirely. This is pretty cool. Wow. But just like the whole freaking... let me see if I can get my lighting to actually behave. Can you see this? Can't even freaking see this. There. There's some light. You see it's coating like the actual engraving of the nib. So... wow. Yeah. That is definitely hard to control, and I'm not even gonna, yeah. Feathers everywhere, bleeds everywhere. Would definitely not recommend for regular notebook paper. Definitely use specialized paper. Yeah. But, for the shits and giggles, we can try a waterproof test. Cap that shit up. Yep. It's pretty much heavily pigmented, and it's not going to... well, the text is there, but it's just... this thing is probably super highly pigmented that there's enough to spare. So if it gets caught in the rain, it's probably going to stay in place if you have nice paper. Definitely not something I would use on cheap paper. Moving on to the other black, the Charles Darwin. Again, a similar viscosity. See, look at that, just bled through my paper. Anyway. Charles Darwin. Alright. Wow! This is one that's not meant for dip pens. I should not say. It's very difficult to control. My swatches were a complete mess. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to even try that on copy paper, on regular notebook paper. Because it's already all over the place, and I'm sure it's, well, it's bled through the good paper, but it hasn't stomped down to the other page yet, which is good. So if that's dry-ish, we will try it with some water. What? Really? Huh. Well, I'll be damned. That shit is staying... Well, it's not staying on the surface of the paper, but if you get a lot of water, I would probably kiss your other ones goodbye. But that's actually kind of cool. So I don't know how you would quantify that, because the back of the paper is going to be trash, but the front is completely intact. That's freaking cool. Let's move on to the Beagle. This one is another super super thick, really wants to coat everything. Like the way it doesn't really, it just sticks on the nib. But it does not want to behave. I have this one loaded into a fountain pen, into one of my preppies. Let's check it out there. Behaves a hell of a lot better when it's loaded into a fountain pen. Let's see. The line is a lot thicker, and it does want to absorb and get into places. I'll try this one on copy paper, or on notebook paper. Fruit Loops. Huh. That's kind of cool, actually. Okay. So definitely don't use it on a dip pen. If you're gonna use it, definitely have a very fine point ink, or fine point nib. Because, I mean, look at this. I only have 1 milliliter in here, and the whole friggin' pen is, like, saturated. You cannot see through this at all. So let's try this shit out, too. With the water. Whoa. Damn! Same again. That is quite impressive. It was unexpected and thoroughly enjoyable, actually. And for the last one, let's go with Santiago Bay Blue. This one I had a real rough time getting onto my swatches. But yay! This one is actually, unlike when I had a hell of a time with on my freaking swatches, it's actually behaving now. Who'd have thought? Yeah, there we go. See, I told you. Let's try to blot it out a little bit. have a feeling this one might have a similar result. But let's try it out. See, like, the pen isn't writing anymore, but there's a considerable amount still stuck on the nib, not being used, which is really annoying. So definitely a fountain pen feed. But let us check out the waterproofness on this one. Huh. That is really cool. But it just kind of leaves me wondering, because the Isaac Newton didn't really behave like that, but these three series do. Maybe that's why it costs so much to produce those, but I'm kind of torn, because I really actually kind of want to buy a bottle of these if it's going to be that much of a resistant. Because holy crap, oof. You see that back though, man? Ugh. Well, that's fun. I'm torn, because that's as good, that's as bad. Yeah. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If you guys enjoy these inks, I would recommend you getting them very quickly, because they are discontinued and are getting increasingly hard to find. Goulet Pens has a closeout special on them, just if you are interested. But that was it. Thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you next time.